It's an incredible story. A small club in a seaside town goes from near extinction to the brink of the Premier League in just 7 years. Roy of the Rovers doesn't come close. In 2008, facing bankruptcy, administration, a points deduction and relegation, Bournemouth was a club in crisis.
It had been on its knees prior to that, financially stricken, living hand to mouth, and players not getting paid from weeks on end.
I had a press conference here, and I was pre-warned by the administrator, Gerald Krasner. Two things are going to happen today, Jeff. I need a cheque for £100,000, which will pay me. So he didn't make any pretense that it wasn't going to the administrator and the players, or I liquidate the club live at the press conference. That is how close the club got to oblivion.
A 17-point deduction the following season gave them a mountain to climb. Bournemouth needed a saviour. Enter Eddie Howe.
Eddie was the messiah. He's a local boy. He's been at the football club since he was 10. And from the very first time I met him, you could tell that there was something about him that was going to take him a long way.
I really don't know why they chose me. And that's an honest answer, because of the situation the club was in. I felt I was probably the last person they would look at, just due to the lack of experience. They probably saw someone who had a very good work ethic, who loved the football club, who would do anything to try and bring success to it. So maybe that's why they plumped for me, and I'm sure it was also due to the lack of finances and other options at the time.
So they went to Eddie and offered him the job and said it was his to lose. I think it was a bit harsh, 10 points adrift at the bottom of League Two, and it's your job to lose. Go and perform miracles, basically. But he brought in some astute signings, and Liam Feeney, Anton Robinson, Royce Wiggins and myself. And just that first win at home against Wycombe gave everyone a belief, the supporters, everyone around the club.
That same season, Howe did what most people thought was impossible. He kept them up. It all came down to the final home game. Beat Grimsby, stay in the league.
Remember the gaffer saying to us before we went out and said, look, all the players, you could be part of history here forever, etched in the club's history. And it stuck with me. And in the huddle, I did the talk in the huddle before the game, and it was quite an emotional speech. I was getting choked up in the huddle because I just had a good feeling about it. I thought, this is our day, we've come so far, we're going to do it.
We had been told the club was going to fold if we went down, and that's not a nice feeling to have around you, knowing the season not only affects next season, but it affects the future, and this club has got a very proud history, so they would have been terrible times.
And on the 80th minute, cross came in. I struck it really sweetly, the ball nestled in the roof of the net, and there I was, 36 years old, nearly 37, running down the touchline with my shirt off, very Ryan Giggs-esque, like in the FA Cup semi-final. I got halfway down, I was heading towards the dugouts, but I couldn't make it, I was shattered.
That was only the beginning. In just 12 months, Cherries went from a survival battle to promotion to League One.
We felt the whole world was against us. The Football League at the time, we'd had 10 points one season, 17 points the next. And what most people tend to forget, in the euphoria of where we are now, we had an 18-month transfer embargo. So we had to have that siege mentality where we had a limited number of players who found a bond, and from the abyss, suddenly we were promoted.
After another good start, Howe was lured away by Championship football at Burnley. A new owner, Maxim Demin, brought investment and stability to the club, but on the pitch, things just weren't the same. A poor start to the 2012 campaign left Bournemouth in the relegation zone. They needed to turn it around. The question was how, and so was the answer.
As it turned out, it was a great season, because we managed to just build momentum right from the first game. I had a feeling this was a special group of players. Some of them I hadn't signed, so there was a new group. But we refound that spirit that we had very quickly, and the amount of wins we got in a short period of time, we went on an incredible unbeaten run, and we never lost the appetite to win games that season, and we felt we might run out of games and it might be too soon for us, but thankfully we got over the line, and in a short period of time it really was an incredible turnaround.
Reaching the Championship seemed like the pinnacle at the time. Now they could go one better.
I didn't really think that I'd ever see them playing in the Championship, let alone possibly, playing in the Premier League. We were laughing the other day about turning up at the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal and saying, hello, I'm from the Bournemouth Echo, and they're going to go, well, this isn't the third round of the FA Cup, this is like a league game, It's just, it would be beyond my wildest expectations.
This has been a special season for us, the most successful season in our history. The first time that we've made the playoffs in our history at the least. So I never thought anything would eclipse that first season. I didn't think it was possible because of what was at stake. Whether this would, I'd have to tell you at the time.
There'll be tears all over the place.
Well, there will be from me. I can actually sort of get emotional just, even thinking about, the prospect of that. And they'd obviously be tears of joy for so many people, for our supporters most of all, for Eddie, Jason, for obviously your inner sanctum, but for my family, when I think, how they supported me.
Bournemouth are just 3 games away from becoming possibly the greatest story in Football League history. The Premier League awaits.